Hello everyone. I hope I see some people coming in live, joining me for a talk on fitness, health and fitness. So I'm waiting for people to join in so that I'll give everybody some time. So I will be talking about health and fitness and how you should be striving to improve your health and why it is so precious. Also that you all might have some goals in your life, and good evening to you. Malka Grewal, very good evening to you. Thank you for joining in. So since we gave the time of 6:30, Pramod Mahajanji, good evening to you. So I will wait for a while after 6:30 for a few minutes. Yes, I am well. Thank you so much. While we as a discipline like to adhere by time, but I understand the constraints people have when they are multitasking and they need to take out time specifically for listening to what we want to say. Nevertheless, I am highly obliged that people do join in spite of everything, in spite of the challenges of time. Very good evening to you, Abhishek ji. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I'm just waiting for a few minutes. So we have very few people here, but nevertheless, this is an aspect of discipline that we have imbibed over the years. When I was in my college, we had lecturers who would give their lecture even if there were just 2 or 3 students, but they were very strict about being on time. I appreciate that you have all joined me, and I am Dr. Rita Jairath, IFBB Figure Pro and IFBB Pro League International Judge. I'm a writer, and I write in several magazines: Crunch Today, Fitness Guru, and bodyandstrength.com. They are very specifically fitness magazines. And I'm also a World Peace Ambassador with the United Nations. This title has been given to me by Walk Hard Foundation, who is doing a lot of social work. And we, as people who have achieved and represented India, and I am one of the pioneering athletes in bodybuilding, because women's bodybuilding was absolutely not there at all in India. And so, just would like to read what is being said. Yes, indeed. I am so grateful, Dr. Pramod Mahajan and Mrs. Malka. I'm so grateful that you have joined. And yes, I am a World Peace Ambassador with the United Nations. I'm also, because the fitness directly involves gym, so the fitness professionals are usually associated with the gyms. We have about 5,000 gyms in Delhi, and I'm the treasurer in the Delhi Gym Association also. And I'm one of the first women bodybuilding athletes from India, and I represented India nationally as well as internationally in many countries, and I have won many medals. So I'm very privileged that I had the opportunity to put women's bodybuilding on the world map. I would like to talk about bodybuilding in particular, because this field is such that must have a role and a say in bringing about a paradigm change in the society. Bodybuilding is something that anybody actually who enters the gym must have, they must have a target of losing fat and gaining muscles. So bodybuilding takes it to an absolute next level and focuses on the aesthetics component of fitness. Fitness has many components. It can be your, the fat muscle ratio, body composition. Besides that, we have strength, endurance, flexibility, your cardiovascular abilities, and your agility, your energy level. So fitness has many components which must be developed. If we take one aspect to an extreme, then the other components do get compromised. So the key is in bringing about an equilibrium and a balance between the various components. So why would one want to remain fit in the first place? Why if this was not an online session and it was it being conducted in person, I would have loved to ask the people around me that what was their individual desire, when they think about fitness, what is their perception? Why do they want to be fit? So I take it as the goals must have a certain level of clarity. In today's world, we perceive fitness as just how we look on the external appearance, which can sometimes be very detrimental, because how you look is not necessarily how you feel and what you can do. So according to me, that is my individual belief, that one should be fit because one should be able to work to the best of his capacity until the end of life. And we cannot change the number of years that we have, but the quality of life can certainly be increased. Nevertheless, there is also one more thing, that when you want to live your life to your fullest potential, if you should never at any point of time feel that I cannot do a particular thing because now I have grown old. One lifetime is not enough for learning. And let me tell you, learning is just not restricted to books. When you're learning any classical art, like say Bharatnatyam, you could be developing your spatial visual coordination, your awareness of the body, how you recruit things, control energy, strength. And so therefore there is a spiritual aspect to it, as has been mentioned in Natya Shastra. So fitness is actually far more than you might like to think that it is so simplistic. It's a very naive approach to fitness when you feel that that fitness is just looking good or not having a pot belly. Fitness is definitely about the aesthetics is actually a bonus. How you look will come eventually. It will come as a bonus. You will reach your best. What you should focus upon is what you can really do. So the first topic I would like to discuss, there are several components of fitness, and the first component of fitness that I would like to talk about is cardiovascular fitness. Now, when you are doing cardiovascular exercises, you are definitely, cardio comes for the cardiovascular muscles, the heart, they are being exercised. Your stamina, your energy, your agility, and your energy levels increase. And cardiovascular exercise is also done to burn calories and not exceed a certain level of body weight. So there are people who take it to the extreme, and they feel that if you are just, if you can just keep running for 2 hours, 3 hours. I see a lot of girls doing that at the gym because they want to look slim. So you just end up becoming a smaller version of yourself. For people who are in sports, who are doing sports-specific fitness endeavors, they cannot just go on running endlessly or doing a certain type of cardiovascular exercise endlessly. When you begin an aerobic activity, it is the blood sugar that is used first, and then the liver glycogen. When your glycogen levels get exhausted, it is then when you start burning fat. And so how the fat burns, how does the carbohydrate or the substrate that is being utilized by the body, how can it burn into energy? How can the adenosine triphosphate, which is the actual unit of energy that is consumed for performing various functions, that actually happens when there is a certain level of carbohydrate present. Because in the Krebs cycle, you have the carbohydrate is converted into pyruvic acid, and then the pyruvic acid into oxaloacetate, and then it undergoes a series of reactions, and then it is back to oxaloacetate. And oxaloacetate is carbohydrate in nature, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen atoms. So if there is no carbohydrate, then after a particular point of time, the fat burning will really stop. And then fatigue sets in. And then the level of hormones like cortisol, which is the distress hormones, they rise. And you are actually damaging yourself beyond a point. So this is where the concept of balance sets in. In everything in life, actually, you need to have balance. You need to have an equilibrium. You need to know, and you have to have a sustained effort over a period of time. And therefore, comes in the role of consistency. So if you are just going to do a lot of cardiovascular exercise on one day and then get tired and then feel lazy and then get demotivated, you are absolutely going to just lose the entire idea of fitness, not only fitness, but also life. So if you are, the very fact that you have, made an endeavor to rise and make a fitness endeavor is such a good thing. But you need to have awareness about what you are doing. And I'm sure that you all agree to the fact that no matter what you do, no matter what field you are from, if it is done with awareness and in a knowledgeable way, and the approach is an educated and enlightened approach, there is an entire paradigm change in how you approach things. And the same thing stands for fitness. So cardiovascular exercise will help to increase your pulmonary efficiency also. That is so very valid in these days, Because we have heard, this is the latest things doing the rounds amongst the doctors, that even asymptomatic patients are having fibrosis, and fibrosis doesn't go away in the lungs. So we are actually using just 20 to 30% of our pulmonary capacity. So the rest of the capacity can be used, and the efficiency comes if you have been doing good amount of cardiovascular exercises. So that is how the oxygen reaches from the lungs to the rest of your body. And that is actually going to bring down your resting heart rate, because the heart does not need to pump that much of blood. And by doing cardiovascular exercises, you develop what is called an athlete's heart. Of course, if it is done in a regular and sustained manner, you develop what is called an athlete's heart. And that's a big heart. And that's not definitely in the metaphorical sense, but in the physical sense, that the volume of the blood that is pumped into the aorta to eventually reach the rest of the body, and that is what is carrying oxygen, it improves. So you are energetic, you're well nourished, and you are having a certain level of agility. And then, of course, the other extreme is that if you take it to an extreme, there will be degradation of muscle tissues, and also damage to joints. And so the resting part is, of course, very important, and the balance and the equilibrium that I had spoken about. Now, what can you do besides cardiovascular exercise? The problem with cardiovascular exercise is that your calories will burn at the time you are doing cardiovascular exercises. Once you end it, there will be a raised metabolism for a certain period of time, and then the calorie burning will stop. So, alertness of the brain keeps your heart nourished. Absolutely, that's a brilliant thing to say. And of course, your brain in the physical form, it gets oxygen. If you don't have any clogging in the arteries, and your capillaries are well cleared and functional. And I will talk about how you can do it when by making the tweaks in your diet also. There is to balance your exercises besides cardiovascular exercise. The best thing that you can do to yourself is actually weight training. So weight training, when you're doing weight training, if you compare it with the cardiovascular exercises, the metabolism remains high for 24 to 48 hours even after you have stopped training. That is the first benefit when I relate it to cardiovascular exercise and calorie burning. Now, besides that, the most important thing is that every person after, say, the age of 30 or 40, they start losing lean muscle mass. And so that needs to be maintained over the years so that you can retain your strength in later age. So if you see a person in 50s, 60s, 70s looking very strong, very young, doing all his activities, certainly he or she must have done something wonderful for decades together. And that is why we really respect people who are old but very, very strong and agile. It is not that they started it one fine day, they just got up and said. They must have done something good, really good throughout their lives, and they must have been very physically active, and they might have been inspirational people throughout their lives, that when they are able to maintain that kind of disposition when they grow older. And one of the major things that can be done for this is weight training. Weight training helps to improve bone density. That is a beautiful thing, because you also lose bone density over the years. So it is like you're stocking up the calcium. So the bone is made up of cells, and the bone formation cells. It's not that if you just eat a lot of calcium, it's going to get deposited in your bone and improve your density. It has to be given the right amount of resistance, and that can be done only by weight training. So these cells which help in formation of bone cells are called osteoblasts. And they are stimulated by the bone marrow to be formed only when there is some resistance training. So that is one of the major benefits you get from weight training, because you see, especially after menopause, we see a lot of women who have fragile bone density. They are prone to fractures. So if a woman has been doing weight training throughout her years, her bone density will be very high, and she will not have things like osteoporosis or loss of lean muscle mass. So the body will remain very, very strong and very toned for very, very prolonged period of time. I have seen bodybuilders. That is why that is why bodybuilding is so relevant now. I have seen bodybuilders in 70s. There is a 76-year-old bodybuilder who is a very good friend of mine, and she's from USA. Her name is Iris Davis. She's a very good friend of mine, and these are the kind of people who have inspired me. I am myself in my 50s. My son is 32 years old. And I have started learning Kalaripayattu now. I am doing Bharatnatyam now. And so, of course, I do my weight training now. I'm studying now. I'm always studying. We are always learners. And the reason that I'm able to do this till now, and I know I will do it until the end of my life, is because I have made a conscious effort, no matter what happens, whether I'm able to complete my work or not. I don't miss my fitness regime, no matter what. So I think it is also our responsibility as sportspersons and people on a public pedestal that we set examples for the younger generation to see us and retain themselves and form a better and healthy society. That it makes life so much more beautiful, and give them priorities on how to prioritize what they should be doing in life. You just cannot squander away time. So one of the reasons why the younger generation is not making attempts to keep fit is because in today's world, we have computers. They may be far more hardworking than even us, but the nature of work that they have now is in front of the computer. They have to sit in one place. There is so much of cognitive stress when you're sitting in front of a computer, or you're reading for many hours, or you're behind a desk working, and that's part of your duty. Suppose you're writing a book. I'm writing a book too. So when you're writing a book, or you're doing anything where you are constrained to stay in one place, there is a lot of cognitive stress. It's not that you are lazy, but you have to work, you are restricted, you're bound by duty. So they have so much of cognitive stress that they are telling themselves that we are tired. But it's not that they are tired, they're not physically tired, they are not lazy. They need to be told, they need to see examples, they need to realize that getting up and exercising will help them to energize themselves, and so it will make their quality of life so much better. So one of the examples I would like to say is, suppose you're just sitting in one place. I have seen people who are not able to sit erect for hours together because their spine, they're not able to maintain a neutral spine, and just by sitting in one place they develop postural defects and kyphosis and lordosis and problem in the cervical or spondylitis or things like that. And that is because of lack of exercise. And they say that they are not able to exercise because of lack of time or because of lack of energy, or they are exhausted. But it's really not that. There are always ways and means by which they can exercise in some form or the other. It is just that you need to prioritize, watch less TV, eat more vegetables, eat simple food. You need to eat simple food and enjoy the natural flavors of the vegetables and fruits which have antioxidants and so on. So coming back to weight training, I tend to sway away because I take up fitness very, very passionately. And coming back to weight training, there are so many ways in which weight training can be observed. So the conventional ways, of course, people think you go to the gym and lift very, very heavy weights, and then that's about it. And oh my God, I cannot do that. It's not meant for me. It is not like that. But, if you are very heavy weights, of course, ridiculously heavy weights are just for professionals, for powerlifters. Usually people can go to a gym, start with light weights, understand the technique of each exercise. Every body part is trained differently. There are different schedules that are custom made according to the person's natural dispositions, like orientation and goals. And so they hold dumbbells, and then they can they can have a certain number of weights and repetitions, and then gradually see progression. As they progress, they will know whether they like to lift very heavy weights, or they would like to do circuit training, or the sets and rep. But there should be progression in some form or the other. Either you are able to do more repetitions, or you're able to lift heavier weights. But if you are consistent, then you will find your natural way where your body is taking you, because we all have a certain genetic disposition and a natural inclination for a certain kind of exercise or fitness regime. So weight training can have a huge amount of variation. It can not only be done by dumbbells or barbells or machine. You can use tubes, you can use kettlebells, you can use resistance bands, you can use your own body weight. And there are so many interesting ways to do it. You have to really want to do it. And once you learn and you are in the flow and you start enjoying and understanding the beauty of it, nothing is going to hold you back, no matter what. You will be, some of the people, they think, wow, these fitness freaks are crazy. They're so crazy. They just want to go to the gym, no matter what. And, they're not living a normal life. No, it's not that. Actually, this is a normal life. Eating natural, simple, boiled, grilled, simple food is a normal life. Eating a lot of butter chicken with a lot of spices, being lazy, is not a normal life. Human being was not made like that. The human body, the machine, the beautiful machinery of human body has evolved over the years to work hard. And our society is such that we need people to bring about a paradigm change. So weight training is something that can help you to keep your body toned, to keep your bone density high, to give you strength, and to avoid injuries in your life, and to help prevent fractures as you grow older. So that's about weight training. And now I would like to talk about different fitness modalities. And one of the major reasons which is so relevant today is because we have the pandemic. Now, in this pandemic, the gyms have been closed. In fact, in Delhi, today I had a meeting, being a treasurer with the Delhi Gym Association, I had a meeting with the Chief Minister, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. We went in the morning today and we thanked him for opening the gyms, because they had given, the central government gave the permission to open gyms, and the Delhi government gave, but somehow, for some reason, the Lieutenant Governor LG was very worried. He was very concerned. He felt that it is not appropriate. And of course, they all have the best of intentions, but there are a lot of families and there are a lot of people whose lives are they're dependent economically on these gyms. So we had filed a petition, we had requested them, and so he really helped us a lot, and today the gyms have opened. But in the period when there can be a period like that, you could be traveling, you could be just going anywhere, and everywhere you might not find a gym. So the other fitness modalities, like you have aerobic training, and besides that the CrossFit. Now CrossFit is something, it is, you're using your own body weight, you're using natural movements like squats, pushing, pulling. They are kind of very intense, high intensity interval training. So high intensity interval training is something like you do, it is not based on the number of repetitions or sets, it is based on time interval. So when you are doing, say, squats or jumps for a particular minute, for a particular number of time duration in its fullest intensity, so that will be for a particular period. And then it is a HIIT, so high intensity, and then you give an interval. So that it's kind of an up down thing in intervals, and it is very, very good. But there is also, a flip side to it, that people are very prone to injuries in that. So unless and until you have mastered the movements, you should be very careful about it. And that this is helpful usually when there is really no equipment. So besides cross training, like I told you, I'm also doing Bharatnatyam. Now, why not Bharatnatyam as an exercise? Like, people go in for the Western dances. I don't know how many our Indians are there, but I take pride in saying that the ICCR, the Indian Council of Cultural Research, they have a lot of foreigners who are trying to collaborate and join in for learning our Indian arts. There is a lot of isometric hold, there is stress, it requires tremendous amount of strength and even cardiovascular endurance to be able to do that. And the basic exercise and fitness regimes in these arts is really tremendous. And then there is a sense of accomplishment in these arts. So that is another way to keep fit. Then secondly, we have a martial art called Kalaripayattu. That martial arts has been made, they say, of course, it is part of the mythology, but they say that this is an art that has been created by gods, and it is actually the mother of all martial arts. Like Sanskrit is the mother of languages, Kalaripayattu is the mother of all martial arts. In fact, it was Bodhidharma who learned it in India, and he carried this art and tweaked it, and then it is now omnipresent in different ways in China, in Korea, and in different forms in Japan, in the form of arts like judo, jiu-jitsu, and in Shaolin in China. These are all variations of that, but Kalaripayattu was the mother of art. The exercise regime of that is amazing. It can give you the power. They say there is a posture called Gajavadit, which gives you the power of an elephant. So Gaja is in Sanskrit is an elephant, and it has been inspired a lot by animal movements, and it was used for warfare in the ancient days, and it is an art from the gods. So this is an amazing, and I feel that why I'm telling you about all this is that there are so many ways in which you can keep fit and also learn and read about our mythology and culture. And besides that, you can have a sense of accomplishment. And there is a lot of Sanskritized Malayalam, Sanskritized knowledge, information that you get from it, and it can also it works wonders on the sense organs, especially for people who are aging. So why not? You can do that. And I believe that classical forms from all over the world are also very good. And, in this pandemic period, when the gyms were not available, where you could not go out to sports complexes or gardens or parks for a walk, I have done online classes with my teachers. And as I told you, I am forever a student, no matter how, I might be in an initial stage. In my 50s, I am beginning martial arts. So you can maybe perceive from that there is no limit to what one can do along with your profession and your work. And you can grow as a human being, and that is where the value of fitness lies. That when you're older, it doesn't mean that you have to sit at home. You can set an example for your entire family, and make your entire family fit, because you are the biggest example that you can do just anything at any age. So here's to cardiovascular exercises, weight training, and CrossFit and other fitness modalities. So now, once you are doing this level of physical activity, we come to nutrition. Because if you are not supplementing with nutrition, there will be wear and tear, you will be fatigued, you will be hungry, or you might just overeat. So fitness is, nutrition is actually the key to anything that you want to achieve. Now, nutrition is decided according to your calorie requirements. If you have a very, very high level of physical activity, naturally you will be needing a little more carbohydrate, because that is the preferred source of energy by the body. We hear, a lot of, especially women, they get into a lot of fat diets, like ketogenic diet or intermittent fasting and all. I strongly feel that balanced nutrition at any point of time is really the key, because it is highly sustainable, and you will never feel that this is something that I cannot do at this point of time. Like, for example, let's take ketogenic diet. Now, there are people who follow it for certain reasons. If there's somebody who's got a photo shoot or a competition and they need to quickly lose weight, that is a key. But there are a lot. I don't know how much I should be talking about ketogenic diets or these diets here. But I'll just take one example of a diet that is not a usual balanced diet, and it is a little off track. And so they actually zero down the carbohydrate. Now, carbohydrate is humectant in nature and absorbs a lot of water. So the moment you stop carbohydrate, you lose a lot of water, and that shows on the weighing scale that you feel that you have lost weight. But what you should be losing is actually fat. You should be losing fat and not water or bone density or blood volume. So always go for fat loss and not weight loss. Now, another thing to this is that muscle has a greater density than fat. So if suppose you take 1 kilogram of iron, it will have a very small volume. It will be, say, this much. And if you take 1 kilogram of cotton, it has less density. The volume will be huge. So you might gain weight, but you might become much leaner, slimmer, and you may form a beautiful shape. So bodybuilding is again like converting a human body into a piece of art. So your weight may increase, but you will be rock solid actually. So it is not the volume, but the density you need to see. So I always say, don't always focus on the weight loss. Focus on fat loss. Focus on how energetic you feel. Focus on what you can do. Your best form of your body composition, potential will be reached in any ways. If you are doing everything correct, you will reach the right equilibrium, a sustainable schedule which is correct. So what we should do is to focus on our habits and not on the goals. Like they say in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that just keep doing your work and don't bother about the result. If you're bothered about the result, then you will be just looking at the weight, the net weight that you have lost or gained. But if you are focusing on, let me improve all my habits, let me do everything correct, the body will take its own shape naturally and you will reach your best potential. And then the aesthetics is a bonus. You will realize that more than looking good or having the right composition, it is what you can do. I must have the strength and energy of an elephant, of a soldier who just walks up with those huge heavy weights right up the mountains in a place like Kargil. I should be a Faulad. I should be a Chattan. I should be a rock. That is the thing that should give you a high. And once you have achieved that kind of stature within yourself and the kind of positivity in you, you will really enjoy being fit and you will never get back with it. So when you come to nutrition, coming back to that, your calorie requirement should match the level of physical activity. So carbohydrates are the preferred source of energy. Carbohydrates are needed by the brain. Brain is made up of cholesterol and fat, so it cannot obviously eat itself. It's not an autoimmune thing. It needs to have carbohydrate to function well. So, you will feel that if you stop carbohydrate, you might think that, why I'm not having energy, and you may feel depressed. But the moment you have carbohydrate, serotonin levels increase, And even, okay, one more thing about serotonin is for improving moods. So when you are exercising regularly, you will feel that endorphins are produced in the body, which, that situation is called a runner's high. And that also makes you very, very positive. It elevates your mood. So exercise is a great, great mood elevator. No matter how low you feel about anything in life, which you shouldn't ideally, but even if you just go out for a walk or exercise or do a bit of weight training, definitely there is no two words about it. You will feel happier, you will feel positive. So we must work on our habits and not on our goals. Now, a lot of people think that we shouldn't have fats in our diet if we want to slim down. But fats are needed by the body for production of hormones and for good quality skin, for so many, for testosterone, for the main hormone that gives you strength. And fats are needed for the metabolism of the nerves. Fats have a very good satiety index. It also lowers the glycemic index of a carbohydrate. See, suppose you have glycemic indexes. If you have a carbohydrate, your blood sugar will rise suddenly. So that is especially very bad for people who have got who are diabetic. But if you do not want that, if there is a little bit of fat in that, now say in earlier days they used to put a little bit of desi ghee in the diet, so that the glycemic index of the food goes down. Then there is the stomach remains, because the digestion is slow, so the stomach remains full for a very long time, and so because of that you will tend to consume lesser calories and your diet gets balanced. The key is with fats, it has got 9 calories per gram of fat. So the key with fats is that you should be very, very careful about the portion. Now, good fats like MCT, the coconut oil, medium chain triglyceride, and omega 3 fatty acids and olive oil, these are beautiful fats and they are much needed. Omega 3 is needed, is very good for the brain, it's very good for eyesight, it's a very good anti-aging fat, and it is important for the formation of synovial fluid, which is there in the joints of a person. So it's very important for that. So you can see how important fats are. So include a certain amount of fats in your diet. Dry fruits have good fats, avocado has good fats, fish oil has good fats. So these are all good fats, they should be included. And then you come to protein. Protein is the building block of muscles. Proteins are needed by your skin, hair, nails, blood. So many hormones are all proteins. It goes without saying that the first class proteins, which have very good biological value and nitrogen absorption, they are from these proteins are in animal sources, but we all are not. There are a lot of people who are vegetarians. So vegetarian foods have got incomplete chains of aminos. There are certain essential amino acids that need to be provided, and the body manufactures the rest of the aminos on their own. So it's good to have a combination of two kind of proteins in your diet, so that there is like you say rice and pulses. They both are incomplete protein, but together they form chains, beautiful chain of aminos to form complete proteins and make your diet balanced and complete and nutritious. So you need to think a little more and be aware when if you are a vegetarian, which is otherwise really good, but you need to be more conscious of your protein intake if you are a vegetarian. Then besides that, you have the vitamin and minerals. I would like to talk a little about protein supplements here. People have a lot of ambiguity, not only protein supplements, but see these days when you see how by the time the crop is cut by the farmers and it reaches the wholesale market and the retail market, a lot of vegetable, fruits, grains, they lose their nutritional value. And sometimes you may need certain supplements, say calcium or vitamin D or certain proteins. in according to your requirements, the requirement may be more in some person. But if you are not supplementing it, and if you're taking all by natural diet, you may end up either taking a lot of calories or sometimes even empty calories. Like, for example, vitamin C, it gets oxidized very quickly. Even when the moment a lime is plucked from the tree, it starts, the vitamin C starts getting oxidized. So by the time it reaches you, the remnant is very limited. So that is where the value of supplementation is. Now, whey protein is something which comes from the milk. When the milk curdles, we have the cottage cheese which is there, and the watery part, that is whey protein. Now that has been these days technologically isolated and put in boxes, and sometimes flavored, sometimes not flavored. But people have a lot of ambiguity, thinking that it is bodybuilders who take protein, but it's not that. These days there is a lot of awareness about the value of having a protein rich diet, and especially when vegetarians do not get sufficient protein. And I have seen now people who are diabetic, or unfortunately cancer patients who are undergoing chemotherapy, and they have tremendous amount of muscle loss and they cannot eat. So for them, protein supplementation is very, very important. And if you're exercising, then the protein requirement really goes up. So if you exercise and you do not provide the requisite nutrition, you will actually, your homeostatic level will go down. So that you need to compensate and think about. And the same goes for vitamin and minerals. But like I said, calcium, vitamin D is very good for the bones. But unless and until you are doing resistance training, it's not going to get absorbed. It can be utilized only when you are having a good amount of physical activity. So these two things go together. And more than these, it is the mind which you need to train and recondition, learn, unlearn, and relearn throughout your life, so that you can incorporate good values and good habits which can help you to live a better life. So this is about nutrition. And I would just like to see what topics I have been told to cover. The muscle shaping. Now, muscle shaping is something which it's a good topic to talk about. Everybody has, we have a genetic structure. I cannot say that I will work hard and I will become 6 feet tall. There is a genetic limitation to certain things. So the same goes with muscles. Muscles, everybody has certain slow twitch muscle fibers, fast twitch muscle fibers. They have a certain structure, the length of limbs, and so on. But if you are doing everything correct, you will reach your genetic potential, as I said earlier. So it depends on the goal, what goal you have. If you want to increase size, the muscle size. When I say increase size, nobody ever should be thinking of increasing size by increasing fat. If your muscle size improves, it increases, that is called hypertrophy. There are two kinds of hypertrophies. One is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and one is myofibrillar hypertrophy. And then there is another transient hypertrophy, which is temporary. But I like to discuss sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar hypertrophy. Now, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is generally, said is a requirement for bodybuilders because they want their size to increase a lot. When you lift very heavy weights, the body works in the adenosine triphosphate, creatine phosphate, ATP, CP phase, and it's just a 1 rep max kind of thing that they do. So the white muscle fibers, the sarcoplasm gets filled in, and that is that helps to increase size, and that increases the size of the muscle. Now, what about women? And when I started weight training, as I told you, I was one of the first bodybuilders from India. So what about, this was my argument when I was told all over the gyms, women should not be doing weight training, stop it, and what are you doing? My example used to be those women who work in the villages, or the women who are laborers. A dumbbell is nothing. They lift very, very heavy weights and they do very heavy physical work They walk for long distances. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, we are really nothing in front of them, and I always salute them. So I'm sorry, there's a little disturbance here. So because of that, now the women in the villages, what they go through is myofibrillar hypertrophy. So the thickness of the muscle increases, and it is not the size of the muscle fiber that is increasing, because their slow twitch muscle fibers are gaining strength and size. So they have a very toned and strong body. Now, women do not have testosterone in their body, so they will never gain size. If they will just gain strength, their body will take its natural shape. There will be no shaping. So when we say muscle shaping, it's just because that you're losing a lot of fat and the muscle is taking its natural shape. So that is what shaping is all about. And it will reach its genetic potential if you are, giving your fullest, making your fullest efforts. So this is about the certain topics that I said I will talk about. And so now I would like to... I'm really thankful to all of you, and I would like you to ask me questions. Would you like to ask me any questions? I'm so thankful for this platform. I have been here for a few days, and I have seen that very, very wonderful people are here. I'm from a field where we have a lot of fitness professionals, so they're all highly motivated, and we talk about sports persons whom we need to just give very specialized information. Or otherwise, when it comes to my clients, I get to deal with people who are laymen and who really need to be told more than exercise. They need to be told to work on their psychology, mind, and also their emotional quotient and spiritual values, because that is what will keep them going and help them to improve sustainability. But when I'm amongst people who are highly educated, now all of you are very accomplished, and you cannot accomplish anything without having these values. So all of you do have these values in you already. It is just that the field is different. So it is all analogous, So some innovative steps for natural trends. Okay, so now innovative steps. See, the natural shape will come anyways. That God has already decided for you. The genetics have been decided for you by your parents. So you need to exercise every body part. Now, you can see exercises. That's a very long topic to actually give actual exercises. But what the key is that every body part needs to be exercised, and you can find ways and means to train them even if you are not going to a regular gym. So you can find, you can use, you can buy a pair of dumbbells. You can use your body weights, like you have your push-ups, or you can do bar dips, or if you're going to a park, how sometimes you have a rod which is hanging and you can hang with that. You can take a mat and you can watch television and do yoga. You have a lot of exercises on YouTube. But I would really advise that even if you're watching YouTube, now these days everybody has become a fitness guru. So you should always watch people who are well educated, or they refer textbooks and not just hearsay. It shouldn't be that. Okay, I'm a pure vegetarian, okay, so for vegetarians, you have vegetables which are protein-rich vegetables. You'd know them, like broccoli, beans, peas, mushroom, cottage cheese, soya bean. Soya bean should never be in excess. It has got, certain phytoestrogens. Especially men should not be taking excess of soya bean. And so, but in small quantities, it's an excellent source of protein. And then, so these are the vegetarian sources of protein. The key is that if you take proteins, like rice has certain amount of protein and pulses have certain amounts of protein. So when you take a combination of this, it is extremely helpful, because the body can form amino acids on their own if they're getting all the 20 essential amino acids. And that can be provided by a vegetarian diet, but you just need to be aware. So try to take variations of protein-rich vegetables, pulses, cereals. Some of the cereals are very high in proteins, like you have quinoa is so high in protein, and milk is a very, very good source of protein. Some people are vegan, and so they really have to think even more, but milk is an excellent source of protein. Okay, the next question is analogy for natural shaping. Natural shaping is something, as I said, that the natural shape already exists. If you are training hard, the muscle will take its natural shape. As professionals, what we do is that we hit the muscle from different angles. Because there is, like in bodybuilding, people just think about exercising the muscles which are visible on the exterior. But we all know that there are, musculature is a very complex structure. There are muscles which are deep-seated. There are supporting muscles. There are associated muscles which are helping movements, like, so scapular mechanism, or the, whenever you bring two joints together, there is a range of muscles which are helping also. Then there are tendons, there are ligaments. So there is a lot more than you see on the exterior. So if you hit the muscles and you give a lot of variations in your exercises, your muscle will take its natural shape, not just the visible shape, but it will become internally very, very strong, and you can sustain these exercises till the end. Sustainable sourcing of protein. The sources of proteins are always there. It's the nutrition, like as I told you, protein rich foods. They will always have proteins. So, but you should know that, you must include protein in your daily diet. Protein is like, otherwise the non-vegetarian foods, I don't want to offend anybody here, but because some people are very sensitive about being vegetarian or non-vegetarian. But yes, the non-vegetarian, like egg whites, I say egg whites, so if you're having eggs, you can have them in the ratio of 4:1, because the yolk has dietary cholesterol. If you do not have cholesterol, it's fine, but the level of fat is high in that. So if you're taking egg white, it's an excellent source of protein. In fact, it has the highest biological value after mother's milk. So these are excellent sources of protein, the chicken, fish. And if you go higher in the hierarchy, like if you go into red meats, the biological value is not high. The biological value actually goes down. Simple ways to lose weight. Okay, simple ways to lose weight. It's the best key is calorie deficit. Now, if you want to lose weight, your physical activity should be more than the calories you consume. So only then, if you have a calorie deficit, only then you can lose weight. Now, one thing is that you shouldn't stay hungry. If you're staying hungry, then what happens is that it should be a very controlled kind of deficit, which is done over a period of time. So there are two sides of it. That one is that if you are going to eat too less, if you're just going to eat drastically, you will be feeling weak. The nutrition requirements will not be fulfilled, and your body may actually go into a catabolism kind of mode, and you may have injuries, and you may not be able to rest well. You will not feel strong. So there is no point in drastically reducing the calories, and you will just you will not be losing fat. Definitely, you will not be losing fat. You will be losing precious lean muscle mass. And but you have to have a calorie deficit if you want to reduce weight. Now, when you're doing it gradually, it will happen, in a natural way. And so you should not overeat. Now, there is one thing by which you can understand that actually we don't need as much food as we usually eat. So we should leave ourselves, like, don't eat till your stomach is completely full, because there is a ghrelin and leptin cycle. Now ghrelin is the hunger hormone. It's called ghrelin tells is the brain secretes the hormone called ghrelin, and it tells you that you are hungry. So you will feel those pangs of hunger if the ghrelin is secreted. Now, suppose you have eaten food. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes for the opposite hormone, that is the leptin, to be secreted. Now, leptin tells you that your stomach is full. If you eat quickly, then the leptin will not be secreted. So even when your stomach is full, and even if your hunger is satisfied, then you will still feel that you wish to eat more, because the food may be delicious or something you like, and you may just go on eating, and later on you will feel that you have overeaten. So the key is to eat slowly. So just imagine, I mean, I'm not even telling you to drastically reduce your calories. I'm just saying that eat slowly. Another lifestyle tip which is very relevant is that you should chew a lot, for two reasons. One is that the part of digestion is done in the mouth by the enzymes in the saliva, secreted by the salivary glands. Then if you chew well, then the stomach is not overloaded. First of all, it is, you have already digested your food partly. Secondly, if you're chewing a lot, you're giving enough time for leptin, for the hormone leptin to be secreted. So once leptin is secreted, you will start feeling that satiety, that your hunger will be satisfied very quickly, and you will never overeat. So these are two ways of deciding. Secondly, try eating much lesser. And if you are going to feel strong the whole day, if you feel strong for the rest of the day, then that means that you were just overeating, and that is all you required. Like, Lord Buddha said that you just need a handful of food actually. So we are actually just overeating because we have been decided like that. Hindi bol, yes, I won't mind, but as far as I know, this group has a lot of international members, and so I have been comfortable in English because I have studied a lot in English. So हाँ, आती है, बिल्कुल आती है, क्यों नहीं आती है. आई एम वेरी प्राउड कि मुझे हिंदी आती है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. बट जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, ये भी एक, दिस इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ थिंग इन आवर एजुकेशनल सिस्टम, दैट वी हैव समहाउ डन आवर हायर एजुकेशन इन इंग्लिश. एंड I have lived for very many number of years in Tamil Nadu, and where Hindi was slightly less than English. So I very humbly, I apologize, and I always make a conscious endeavor to speak as much Hindi as possible. But the thing is that I knew that this group has people from the international arena also, and the Indian diaspora. So that is why I gave most of my talk in English. So finally, I would like to thank Mr. Abhishek Pandey, and I would like to thank Charles Walter Society, for innovation and research. It's a wonderful platform to get all intellectuals together, which is an absolute need of the hour. Dr. Abhishek Pandey, President, CWSIR. Mrs. Malka Grewal, Vice President, CW, SIR, Dr. Smita Tiwari Balia, author and founder of the CWSIR, Professor Beatrice Lucia, educationist, France, honorary patrons, Mr. Murari Bansal, Chairman, GD Goenka, Haryana. It's a pleasure, sir. Mr. Suminder Singh, MD, IDPS, Jammu. Mr. James Douglas Little, Space Science, USA. Mr. Southern Hassan, Associated, Cambridge, UK. Mr. Pramod Mahajan, Educationist, UAE. I'm so honored to have you, sir. Officials, CWSIR, Ms. Vijay Lakshmi Jha, legal expert, CWSIR, advocate, Supreme Court of India. Dr. Dheeraj Mehrotra, academic evangelist, director, CWSIR. Tazeen Siddiqui, scholar of Harvard University, executive president, CWSIR. Evangelia Vasilako, Greece, executive director, CWSIR. Mr. Mitul Dikshit, chief managing director, CWSIR, president, International Space Society, Chandigarh. Ms. Deepshika Tiwari, Calcutta, registrar, CWSIR. Overseas supporters are Professor Krit, Morocco. Mr. Alexander France, Evangelia Vasilako, Greece. Professor Beatrice, France. James T. Little, USA. Professor Chia C. Tan, Thailand. Professor Hamid Hussain, Pakistan. Ms. Mandavi Chaube, Dubai. Professor Dr. Yanakon Toprayun, Thailand. Dr. Babalola Ulumuvia, Eskel, United Nations Organization. I'm sorry for the name, sir. I'm very, very honored. I respect you. Mr. Swaminathan, Uganda. Professor Dr. Ismat Zareen, Bangladesh. Thank you so much for giving me this platform, and it's an absolute privilege to be a part of you. I hope that we have a great journey ahead together, and we are all contributing to the society in our own way. By our studies, literature, but there is one analogy in everything, that you work hard, there is consistency in your work, and when you learn to learn, unlearn, and relearn, and stay humble, you can do anything at any point of time in your life. Thank you very much. Namaskar. God bless you. Thanks to you, Mr. Pramod Mahajan. Thank you, Dr. Abhishek Pandey. Thank you so much. So I shall leave now with best wishes and prayers.